Alright, what's going on, guys? I'm back with another video here, and today's video I was actually going to be on scammers, and I'm going to focus more on the more romance type of scammers that will pretend to be this really attractive person to the person they're trying to target, and they message them and everything else, and eventually they'll say, they have romantic interest in the person and everything else. And eventually it leads up to where they apparently need money to get back home or to get to you or whatever. Most of the time they're stuck in a foreign country and can't get back to the country that they're originally from, apparently, because they're on business or something like that, or they found this inheritance or whatever. There's all sorts of stuff they make up to fool people and everything and make an excuse as to why they need money. And there's been plenty of people actually on plenty of shows like Dr. Phil, who I've seen a lot of people, especially old people, well, for the most part they're actually old, but they fall for these romance scams and end up giving up thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to these people who they believe is their true love and everything else, and they found the one and everything, but this person isn't even a real person in the first place, and it's just some person looking to scam people out of hundreds of thousands of dollars into believing that they're the one and everything, and that they're gonna come home and they're gonna get married and live happily ever after and everything else. But then that doesn't turn out to be the case, and Dr. Phil ends up giving out all this evidence of this person who they believe they're in love with not being a real person, and that they're just a scammer trying to get money out of people, and making up whatever excuse they can as to why they can't see the person and actually meet up with them, and why they need more money and everything. And not gonna lie, I sort of believe this one person, that they were actually a real person on Facebook one time. It was about 5 months ago, I think, somewhere around there. It was 4 or 5 months ago. And this person was actually speaking pretty good English to me, so I was like, maybe, they're actually a real person. They posted a video on their, timeline that was saying they were real, basically. And I'm guessing this person, was a victim to a lot of scams, and this actually wasn't the real person posting this, but they were posting it just to get more validity that they're real, which they aren't in the first place. They're just stealing someone else's identity and trying to scam people. But the moment I knew it was a scam is when I tried to meet up with them in a local Walmart, and they never showed up, and right after that they asked for money. I actually tried to video call them and be like, hey, prove to me you're real, video call me and have a conversation with me. They couldn't do that. They made up every excuse under the sun as to why they couldn't. Oh, my phone's bad is a common one they'll say. Watch out for that too. Their phone is not bad. They're just a scammer. And that's a common one they'll say as to why they can't call or anything. Or, can't video chat or anything else, is because, they're not real in the first place. They're not able to do that to, prove they're real, because they aren't real. And their phone's not bad. It's not that. It's just that they can't, because they're pretending to be somebody else that they're not, to try to, scam people. And right after this, I knew right away that this was a scam, and that I should step away right away from this and not talk to this person ever again. So I was like, hey, you've been exposed for being a scammer, because someone that I know actually messaged me as well. I forgot to mention this, but someone messaged me as well, saying that it was actually them pretending to be some porn star out there. And I'm like, all right, I believe this 100%, now 110%. I already believed it when they started asking for money, so I was like, yeah, now I totally believe that this person isn't even real in the first place. And I immediately blocked them, said, hey, you've been exposed to being a scammer, and I blocked them, and everything else, which is what you should do when someone you don't know, you've never met or anything else, asks for money. Don't send money, at all, under any circumstance, if you haven't met the person. And that is one of the number one things to watch out for, is if they start asking for money and you've never even met the person. If they ask for money, then it's a scam, period. There's no other way of, going about it other than it's a scam, man. Why else would they be asking for money from some random person online to, you know, get them back home or whatever as they say, or they make up whatever excuse they can as to why they need money. But you know, they'll say all sorts of things to try to get your money. But if they do ask for money, even for anything in the first place, it is a scam. Do not send the money. Disassociate yourself with the person, because they're probably not even real in the first place. And another one is they don't speak really good English a lot of the time. Of course, the one I ran into a few months ago actually did speak pretty good English, but a lot of these people, you know, are from like Nigeria, Egypt, and places like that, where, you know, they barely speak a damn, you know, lick of English at all. I mean, of course they've got to speak English to, you know, conversate with the person, but a lot of times it's broken English. And they actually do this on purpose, because a lot of people ask, you know, why don't these people correct their speech when they send this stuff to people? And these people, these scammers, will say, you know, hey, if someone happens to be falling for this bad grammar and, you know, terrible English, then they're probably willing to fall for us making up an excuse as to why we need money. So for anyone wondering why that is actually the answer for that question. They intentionally don't correct this stuff so they can, you know, be for sure that this person can possibly be defrauded out of money, and that they're willing to fall for it a lot easier. Because these people are preying on emotions and vulnerability here. That's the number one. Those are the number one things they prey upon, are gullibility and vulnerability. They prey on that. They prey on emotions as well. Those are the things they prey on the most out of anything, and they utilize that to their advantage in whatever possible way they can think of. And within a long time, if they keep making up excuses as to why they can't meet in person, you know, within like months and years, then okay, something the hell is wrong. Either they don't want to meet, or they're not even real in the first place, and that's kind of a shitty thing to do. It shows that you're not interested in the relationship in the first place, and, you know, you're not interested in the person at all to begin with, or, you know, they're not real and they're just defrauding somebody, which, you know, the latter is probably the one that's true. And a lot of the common excuses they will make as to why they can't meet the person is that they need to pay this thing to get out of the country. A lot of them will say, hey, I'm jailed, I'm injured, I got robbed, I got beaten and everything else. And, you know, it's all a lie. It's all a sham. It's all, you know, excuses just to get money out of the person they're defrauding. This is what they do. You know, they prey on emotions. And things that prey on emotions are great tools to use for scammers. You know, things like, hey, I'm arrested, you know, I need this amount of money to get me out, I need bail money, you know, or, hey, I need to pay this hospital bill that I racked up in the hospital because I got in this accident, like a car accident or something, for example. They'll say all sorts of things, but I'm just using car accident as an example. They'll say all sorts of things, like, you know, hey, you know, this certain person robbed me, I'm injured, I need to pay a hospital bill, or, you know, I was in a car accident, or, you know, someone beat me up on the street, or I, you know, fucking, I don't know, broke my leg on the stairs, you know, or whatever. They'll make up anything. But for a lot of people wondering if, you know, scamming is, you know, legal in places like Nigeria, and that's why it's so common, not exactly. Scamming is not legal in Nigeria, or, you know, any of those countries which, you know, scamming, like romance scamming, comes from often. You know, it actually isn't legal. These are just, you know, underground criminals, you know, in a small little workroom in Nigeria that, you know, really do not want to be seen or anything else, because I've actually tried to look up, you know, a lot of these scammers out there, a lot of these romance scammers in Nigeria, and you can't find too much on them because they don't really want to be seen for obvious reasons, because, you know, they're committing criminal activity and they don't want to be incriminated, you know what I mean? So that's why you don't really see interviews with them too much. I've seen maybe one or two where, you know, they got in trouble for scamming somebody, and, you know, they can speak a little bit on it. There's certain things maybe they can't speak about, but, you know, they're speaking on, you know, how they got in trouble and everything, and maybe go into a little bit of detail on what they did, but not, you know, fully. But, you know, they got in trouble, their scamming days are over, you know, and they're just telling their story of how they got busted for trying to defraud somebody, or, you know, whatever. But most of the time, you really don't see much, you know, interviews with people that are in the process of scamming somebody, because, you know, who goes out there saying, hey, I'm defrauding this person, you know, to the public, you know, I'm scamming this person out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know, nobody says that. No smart person, no smart person with, you know, criminal activity does that. You know what I mean? It's just like someone who's about to rob a place. You know what I mean? You don't go out and say, hey, you know, out to the public, I'm gonna rob this place, because then, you know, you're gonna get caught, you know, a lot more easy and incriminated a lot more easy. And that's the same reason as to why you don't see many interviews with a lot of these scammers unless they've been caught in the past and their scamming days are behind them. But again, I'll repeat, you know, the things to watch out for. Like I said, 1 is bad English. Number 2 is asking for money, which is probably the most important one. And 3 is excuses not to meet in person. So those are the 3 things I'd watch out for the most when, you know, talking to somebody online that you may be a little bit romantically interested in. There's nothing wrong with being romantically interested in someone on the internet. Hell, you know, my current girlfriend I actually met online, and, you know, we've actually met in person and everything else, and I know she's not scamming me because she's never asked for money from me, for 1. And, you know, 2, like I said, I met her in person, so I know, you know, she's not some sort of scammer trying to get money out of my pocket. But, you know, a lot of people meet online, and that's totally fine, you know. Just make sure you know who you're talking to. If someone can't video call you or anything, and, you know, give every excuse under the sun, like, you know, hey, my phone's bad, then they're probably lying to you. They're probably not the person they say they are. And, you know, they could be a scammer, which is very, you know, most likely, or they could just be very insecure about their looks. But it's very more likely that, you know, they're a scammer. At least video call somebody first, you know, before you start, you know, showing a little bit of romantic interest, you know. Just a tip, you know, because if you don't and you start, you know, really falling for this stuff too easily and they turn out to be a scammer, then there's bad news, because then they're really preying on your emotions. Once they figure out, hey, you know, this person's really, you know, into this persona I've made up, you know, I'm going to capitalize on this and start asking for money and making up sob stories as to why I need money, and capitalize on, you know, the emotions of the victim that I'm victimizing here. So yeah, at least video call somebody before, you know, you start showing a little bit of romantic interest, because then you kind of get caught up in your emotions and it's bad news. So yeah, that's basically my take on a lot of these scammers out there, and my advice for people who, you know, maybe looking for online, you know, looking for somebody to be with online or whatever, and, you know, actually meet up with, which a lot of these scammers don't. And what these scammers do, it's basically the full extent of my knowledge on this. I may not have covered everything, because, you know, I haven't, you know, physically been to a lot of these workshops, a lot of these, you know, scammers working or anything, and experienced, you know, what these people are like firsthand. But I've just done a lot of research on this topic and decided to give my take on it. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Peace out.